Till death do us part, the dramatic cherry on top of wedding vows. But where does this iconic phrase come from? Spoiler, it's less about romance and more about locking couples into lifelong contracts. Let's dive in. The phrase made its dramatic debut in 1549, courtesy of Thomas Cranmer, the Archbishop of Canterbury, who included it in the Book of Common Prayer. Inspired by scriptures like Romans 7 verse 2, a wife is bound to her husband as long as he lives. The line reinforced the idea that marriage was forever, or at least until someone's funeral. But here's the twist. It was more practical than poetic. Back in the day, divorces were a no-go, especially in the church. So, till death wasn't a cute promise. It was a legal lock-in. No exits, no takebacks, just eternal wedlock. Or, deadlock. But wait, long before Christianity, people were already dabbling in forever commitments. The ancient Romans had wedding vows that emphasized loyalty and permanence, but here's the kicker. They were smart enough to allow divorces when things went south. Roman marriage was more like a contract. If it stopped working, you ended it. No need for drama. Meanwhile, in pagan traditions, marriage rituals celebrated loyalty and partnership, but they weren't always framed as till death. These unions could end with the cycle of seasons, mutual agreement, or, let's face it, if someone was just over it. Then came Christianity, with its flair for the eternal. The church took the idea of lifelong commitment, slapped on a spiritual stamp, and turned it into a non-negotiable divine contract. Once the church monopolized marriage ceremonies in Europe, this phrase became the ultimate relationship mic drop. It's forever, or else. So, how did it catch on? The church made "till death do us part" mandatory, but over time, society gave it a glow up. Writers like Shakespeare ran with the idea, making eternal love sound tragically poetic. By the time modern weddings rolled around, the vow wasn't just a religious commandment. It was the symbol of undying devotion. Of course, history hasn't always been kind to this vow. Just ask Henry VIII. He didn't let a little thing like "till death" stop him from hitting the annulment button. Or Napoleon and Josephine, who loved each other but not enough to let "forever" get in the way of political ambitions. Turns out, till death was more of a suggestion for some. So, is it romantic? Sure. Foolproof? Absolutely not. But hey, it does sound pretty epic when you say it at the altar. Moral of the story? The phrase might sound dreamy, but let's be real. It's definitely not a guarantee.